So, if you're subscribed, you probably know that I've been gone for a while. And if you're seeing me for the first time, hi, my name is Jaël. Usually I make videos about learning, self-development and productivity, but recently I have not done so for about 4 months. And that had two interrelated reasons. Firstly, the combination of my master's program with everything else that I was doing in my life was just becoming way too much. And every free moment that I had, I found myself either ill or just really tired and completely unmotivated to do anything. But I have also been facing a bit of a dilemma with this channel because I feel that I have not been critical enough about how my channel could be contributing to setting unhealthy standards around studying or productivity in general, which are the same unhealthy standards that made me feel burned out by my studies and everything around it, to the point where I had to stop filming videos for this channel for about 4 months. Because by talking about all these study tips and planning and organization hacks, I feel like I sometimes make it seem like you can just solve this problem of always feeling like you have too much to do and feeling like you don't have time to just be human, live life, find some sense of purpose, connection and meaning in this thing called life. Like you are just failing if you feel burnt out because you're just not productivitying hard enough or something like that. But that just cannot be true, because nowadays it seems like everyone, including all the productivity YouTubers who should be the experts on how to productivity in the best way, feels burnt out. So maybe the problem is not so much with how we manage all the things that we have to do, but just that we do too much. And that the system that we live in requires us to do too much, or at least makes us believe that we need to do too much. So today I wanted to explore why productivity is not the answer and why productivity YouTube in its current uncritical form should die, which also partly includes this channel. So let's start with what I think is at the root of this problem of requiring insane productivity from everyone all the time, which is meritocracy. And meritocracy is the idea that money and or power in a society is divided over people according to skills, talent, ability, or in short, merit. And meritocracy is a huge idea in today's society, and it's actually such a big idea that it almost just sounds like common sense. Like, work hard, be smart, earn more money. Seems kind of logical, but there are actually quite a lot of questionable things about meritocracy. For example, many people believe that meritocracy is the alternative to inherited money and status. However, of course, people from a higher socioeconomic background get more opportunity to develop their skills and talents than people from a lower socioeconomic background. So skills and abilities are still highly determined by the family in which you are born and the environment you grow up in. What is more is that meritocracy also links someone's value as a person and their position in society to their skills and effort. The rich are rich because they deserve to be so, and the poor are poor because they deserve to be so. And in doing so, meritocracy puts the responsibility of the position that people are in on the individual instead of on wider society. But the crux here is that true meritocracies do not exist, because there is always an element of chance involved in whether people succeed in society or not. Some people have the luck to be born in a higher socioeconomic status family. Some people have the luck to just run into the right people at some point in their lives. And on the other side of the coin, you also might get unlucky and fall ill or get injured and not be able to work anymore, or not in the same capacity as you could before. People can have the same theoretical potential and work equally hard. But if you don't also happen to get lucky, you might still not get to the same point that others similar to you will get to. But because people still believe that there is true meritocracy, it feels like we constantly need to push ourselves to be bigger, better, faster, stronger, because it gives us a sense of control over our destiny. But this is a false sense of security and control, because as I said already, luck or chance always plays a role. And yes, by doing a lot and working hard, you might increase your chances at success slightly, but you really cannot actually control it as much as you probably want to believe that you can. But because that is not what society teaches us, we keep pushing ourselves for this fake sense of control, and then also tie our self-worth to our ability to do so. So one of the questions that is still left to answer is, why do we even feel such a strong need to control our destiny? Can we not just trust that we will be fine? Well, sadly, the current economic prospects of at least our generation, like the millennials, Gen Zs, do not really make it seem like we can. Because all around us, at least in a lot of Western societies, we see that the costs of fulfilling your basic needs are rising, while the wages are not even close to rising with these costs. So there is an increasing amount of jobs that will not earn you a living wage. So there is some sort of need, or at least experienced need, to hunt for these relatively rare jobs that will actually pay you this living wage. And that will also give you some sense of fulfillment or meaning, a job that doesn't feel soulless. But to do so, you need to put in a lot of unpaid, or even paid by you, tuition fees, unpaid internships, labor to qualify for these jobs. And a lot of these jobs also give you temporary contracts, or just give you contracts that are made in such a way that it is relatively easy to fire you. So there now is this sort of, at least experienced, need to fight to attain the same type of stability that was basically a given for the generations that came before us. And the only way we know how to fight for this, or how society tells us to fight for this, is by building enough merit, in the hopes that that merit will give us that secure income in a job that we don't hate, so that we can actually build a stable life for ourselves. So as I see it, the problem of productivity YouTube, or at least uncritical productivity YouTube, is that it capitalizes on this sort of existential fear. This feeling that people need to do it all in order to succeed, and then not in the villas and expensive cars kind of sense, but just in the basic survival kind of sense. And it only teaches complacency and working in the system instead of trying to make an active contribution to changing the system. But the irony of all of this is that even pushing yourself all the way to the max will not actually guarantee you stability in the current system that we live in. Because luck or chance is still such a big factor. And by encouraging people and teaching people how to keep pushing themselves, you only create a more competitive rat race to the top, where people just have to do more and more and more and more to potentially still fit. I think the problem is not so much about people trying to teach other people how to do things more efficiently. Because I do genuinely believe that efficient studying is inherently valuable because it allows you to learn better. And I do really believe that having some form of organization or planning in your life makes you more relaxed and happier because you know you have all the essentials under control. But what is important is that productivity YouTubers, one, are not uncritical of why they value and try to foster their productivity. And 2, set a healthy and realistic example for their viewers. Because I don't know if I'm the only one, but I'm just getting a bit sick and tired of seeing all these productivity YouTubers talking about their 5th burnout this year. And yes, I do see the irony of me saying this, being a productivity YouTuber, in a video where I talked about being burned out. But the problem is that many of these YouTubers then talk about the importance of rest and taking a step back, and then when they have recovered, they just seem to go straight back into the grind instead of properly reflect on why they felt like they needed to do so much in the first place. Because I don't think we should want the grind. It's not worth it to constantly push yourself so hard for a false sense of security. And in a way, everyone who is grinding excessively is just making it so that others also have to grind excessively to be able to compete. So part 1 of what I'm doing to try to not contribute to this problem with my channel is to make this video in the hopes that I can encourage some genuine reflection on why we even feel like we need to do so much. And on the other hand, I have finally, because I should have done this way earlier, decided that I'm going to durably do less in the hopes that I can set a sort of healthy example for people. I have reduced my study load at university, and in the coming semester I will not be working a job next to my studies anymore. And I do want to say that yes, I can only do this because I am not in an immediately precarious financial position, and I do want to recognize my position of privilege in being even able to make this decision. But it does mean that I will have to take out more student loans in order to just finance my aliveness, I guess. So I am also making some sacrifices to do this, but I do also think it is important to show that sacrifices are sometimes necessary for your mental health, and that these sacrifices are worth making, of course, if you are in a position to make them. I do really hope that these changes will allow me to make videos regularly again, because I do really love managing this channel and seeing all your messages and comments. And aside from just posting again, I am also thinking about how we could create even more of a sense of community here, because I think having a space to discuss these kinds of issues in a way that can go a bit deeper than just YouTube comments is really important. So more on that later, but I at least hope to get back to making videos regularly again and further build our little community of people that are trying to be the best they can be, but in a healthy way where we do not consistently try to push the limit further and further and try to do more and more. Of course, don't forget to subscribe if you've made it this far into the video and want to join our nice little community. And I wish you lots of love and a life of learning.